Hi, everybody. YouTube, please. Thank you. A bit of lipstick makes a difference, doesn't it? Thank you. I've been painting. I just had to go and wash my hands. I've got paint all over me. Not my face, the cupboard. Welcome. So I did post this morning on my community tab that I might do a live, but then I often say that and don't get to do one. So, hi, Cricket, my darling. Thank you, YouTube, please. Hi, Nova. I've been doing it again this morning, Nova, going around singing rebel songs while slapping the paint on my cupboards. Come out, you black and tans. All my parents would be proud of me. What's the weather like, Nova? Is it really cold? It's sleeting here again at the minute. Did you all see the profile picture of Foodie with Howie? Yeah, it's freezing here. I'm warm. This is another fleecy dress that I'd forgotten I'd got. The picture of Harry in the air fryer. It's not funny. Where is the humour in that? And of course, it's done deliberately, just as a big FU to people who are saying that they're concerned about the animals. Pity there aren't any animal activists in Kuwait. Yeah, she got a profile picture, Cricket, of Howie in the it's her last live stream. No, but it could be my fault again, because I typed on the community tab I might come on live, but we often know that I can't get on, so I don't put a notification out unless I'm absolutely certain I can get on. And I've been painting, so I wanted to get that done. So yeah, she put a picture of Harry in the air fryer, peeping out, and of course, okay, no, but it could be my fault. I'll try to be more conscious of setting times, maybe setting days and setting times, and try to keep them to them more often than not, say Monday, Wednesday and Friday or something. And then if there's anything in between, it's a bonus. She is vile. You know, does she not think that animals have feelings? Bad spelling. Of course, animals have feelings, and they feel fear, just as they feel love, just as they feel repulsion. She would have the animal rights people up in arms if she was in an area where they are active. No, and that's what she is, Cricket. I do believe that. I can't remember where I read it. Again, it may have been on the farms, it may have been elsewhere some years ago, or it may have even been on one of her videos, where she had admitted to putting her 2-year-old sister in the tumble dryer because she was jealous of her. Basically, you know, it wasn't switched on, but she still did it. Enigmatically, and me, yeah, she TikTok, isn't TikTok sort of, it's very fast moving, isn't it? Like quick and snappy, and just getting, like our shorts, if you like, about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. And she put out a 7. Again, I've seen it elsewhere, I don't. don't very often go to look at her channel unless I want to get a picture. Hi, Mike. So there's 2 people on TikTok who have come out and have been very, very critical of her. And there's one person in particular, Milk, someone, not Milk Tea, it's another Milk, somebody. And she's been quite vocal in her criticism. So the reason, enigmatically, that she thinks she can fool people is because she thinks she's cleverer than people. She thinks she's cleverer than the majority of people. Thank you, Carrie. I'm such a fake, you know. I shouldn't say that because people think I mean it. I don't. But a fake in that I put some lips. I've been painting this morning. I thought I'll go and do a live. Put some lip gloss on, and then I thought, no, that doesn't. I'll put something on that matches my dress. So I've gone over it with red lipstick. Yeah, the filters. Thanks, Carrie. Well, dapper. Dapper. That always reminds me of Charlie Chaplin. He was a dapper little man, wasn't he? I really liked him. He was a great humanitarian also. And he and his wife are buried together. I think it's in Switzerland. His wife, Una Chaplin, I think she was about 30 odd years younger. But they had 10 children together or more. And they clearly loved each other. The filters are haram, just as the fake eyelashes are haram. I suppose are the degrees of haram. Music is haram. Hi, Unicorn. The land of stay mad babies. Oh, can you imagine if she goes on there with one of her songs where she's written the lyrics? Yeah, 10 kids does mean you're slightly fond of each other. My mum had 10, but she'd been married twice. And there's like altogether massive family, massive. A lot of work though. And Alf's mum had 7. And I often say how patient she was. You know, she'd do different meals for different people, regardless of what she cooked as the main meal. Somebody came in and wanted something different, she would, out comes the chip pan. 2 cats are work. Have you got cats, Mike? I've been watching on YouTube. I don't know whether anybody's heard of him. When I say something about somebody, there's normally somebody here who's heard of the person. This fellow was from a place called Parrotsville in Carolina, is it? Window to my life, hi. Yeah, well, my mum's a bit like that as well. But this man, his name was Marvin Popcorn. Marvin Popcorn. What was his last name? Can't remember. Anyway, he was a bootlegger. You know, he made moonshine, and it was big business. And he was busted for it on numerous occasions. And the last occasion he'd sort of got finagled into telling, I don't know, it was an FBI agent or somebody who was undercover, I don't know, how many gallons of the stuff he'd got. He had his own various stills and everything. I mean, even the rock stars were a fan of his whiskey. And Popcorn Sutton, that's him. And have you watched him cricket? Oh, what a character he was. And on the last occasion, he was caught, and he was taken to court, and they handed him an 18-month prison sentence, was it? And he wanted to go home to, sort everything out. He said, get his affairs in order, etc. And what he went home to do was to take his own life, because he said he wasn't going to do any prison time. And he was also ill with an undiagnosed illness, which it was later discovered it was cancer. Yeah, he really was a character. He looked a lot older than he was, though, didn't he? But yeah, unicorn. It was the carbon monoxide into his car, and his wife had gone out shopping, gone out to do some errands, and come back and found him. He had a very hard life, but he loved his parents, and he spoke very fondly of his dad. So he was only 62 when he left this world. And I think he'd got one child, hadn't he, a daughter. He'd been married twice, but he'd only got one child who thinks the world of him. And now it's a business. It's I don't know whether it's still going, but they were actually doing it legally and distilling the whiskey. Popcorn Sutton's whiskey, and it must have been really good stuff, And it showed where he was born and the place he used to go to brew his whiskey. I've been waiting to upload something, actually, because I'd love to talk about him a little bit more. A real character. And he had is it still a big thing there, enigmatically, is it? Poutine in Ireland, isn't it? No, but am I saying it correctly? Poutine. Poutine. No, poutine's what she eats, isn't it? Poutine, P-O-T-E-E-N. Put hairs on your chest. No, I can do without them. Poutine, yeah. I think I tasted it once at my cousin's. It was a bit strong as well. And the stuff they used to make in Saudi, that the expats used to make, it needed your own still to make it. It was called Sadiq or Siddiqui, which means my friend. And that was, oh my gosh, that'd blow your head off. It was that strong. Potsheen. Oh, is that where the word comes from? Hi, Rocky. Loved your videos, by the way. You're welcome. So I'm going to upload a couple of his videos. I think they've done a lot of interviews with him. And he was very frail, small and slim and wiry. And I'll take that back. He looked very frail, but he clearly was not very frail, because he overcame the life that he'd had, which was a very hard life. With Popcorn Sutton, Rocky, it was from a place called Parrotsville. That's where he lived. And I don't know whether he was born there, in the Carolinas. And he was a bootlegger and made moonshine. And I've been watching a lot of the videos concerning his life story. He's a fascinating man. He really is an interesting character, and he's very, very likeable as well. he did one interview with somebody called Johnny Knoxville, and that was sort of unedited, filterless, if you like, and it was a bit close to the knuckle. But the way he says things, there's no harm in him, you know. He could swear and say things, and he wasn't swearing at anybody. Yeah, eccentric, very eccentric. And he had cricket, he had a junk place, didn't he? He had a big old building, shack, that like set up as a shop that he would sell all sorts. He said, if I ain't got it, it doesn't exist. He sold everything from mirrors to soap to plaques for your wall to whiskey, everything. Did he? I know he liked to party. I saw a clip of him dancing. And Hank Williams Jr. was a big fan of his as well. And I think he went into partnership when they tried to get the company, Popcorn's Whiskey Company, going. And Hank Williams Jr. was involved with that because he was a big fan of the whiskey. Oh, yes, Rocky's got a nice channel now, though. Who's Mamie White Unicorn? Should I know her? Mamie White. I just think it's a shame, you know. I know he did a lot of things that were against the law. But right towards the end of his life, when he was so ill, did they have to hand him a life sentence? Not a life sentence, a heavy sentence. The Whites from West Virginia. What do I know of that? Are they like no, I'll tell you who I'm thinking of. The Allens, Allen. Were they from West Virginia? They were another family who were lawbreakers. And the patriarch of that family, Floyd Allen, was sentenced to jail, and he said he'd never serve a jail sentence. And in the courts, when they said, you know, Jesco White, oh yeah, I'll look them up. Why do you think it was the Carolinas, particularly then, enigmatically? Was it because it was easy to hide what they were doing? Because there was so much land, so many mountains. But this Floyd Allen, he said, I won't serve a jail sentence if a jail sentence. I know, still illegal. If a sentence is handed down. And of course, a sentence was handed to him in the courtroom. And he stood up and they handed him his sentence. He said, well, I ain't going. And at the back of the court, all his family members, the male members of his family were there. They took their guns out and they were taking pot shots at the judge. They killed the foreman of the jury. They wounded the clerk. And it turned into a great big gun battle in the courtroom there. Oh, he's a club dancer. I don't think I've heard of him, Jesco White. I haven't. Canada's got a boring history. I will know that. Yeah. As long as they want to, they can always ask me to remove it. Where's Cookie gone? on. Boring and a Canadian. How about an English history class that only teaches you about, like, the empire and how brave the English were? You know, it's like in that song I've been singing, a rebel song, how bravely they faced one with their 16-pounder gun, faced one who only had bows and arrows. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, enigmatic because of the mountains and the land. Yeah, I've done it over. I've done it, love. I didn't know that Prince Charles had 10 properties. 10 in Transylvania. What's he need 10 for? I've done it enigmatically. You should have your wrench. Chantal's little dangly fooper, Willie. Is that emoji, is that Salah? Is it in his jacket with the skull? I honestly thought that jacket would have come from a retro shop, you know, where people got rid of all their 1950s, 1960s gear, but it's not. It's new. You're welcome, enigmatically. Thank you for doing it. Oh, did you go on a bus, Rocky? An open-topped bus? No, he wasn't dressed as nicely as Emoji Man. I think some of it was a script, Rocky, but I think, you know, to get money, but I think her arrogance has landed her in a situation that she's not going to find it very easy to get out of with, I was going to say with any dignity, but forget that, scrap that. I love Jericho D's videos as well. So if you haven't subscribed, it's worth subscribing to his channel. Is that phone going to be working in Canada, Rocky? Is it? Oh, I guess, I mean, she does the video. She can give has she got a special word that she can give out? Well, we wouldn't know, would we? But just to her family to let them know she was in trouble, like something like, I don't know, hair tearing out, something like that. Paper clips. Well, he said that she's got a key. So I was wondering whether she was lying about that because she said that the door has to be locked from the outside. It doesn't. Those doors. What about if Salah's there with her overnight? They would have to lock the door then, and it would be locked from the inside. So that's rubbish. Oh, paperclip. That was a safe word with Nada. Well, that didn't work out well for her. I've got a nice picture of them too, actually. I might post it later. Dee Dee's another person I felt sorry for. And I still do, in a way, because she's gotten in over her head and he's taken over that apartment. She's all in, yeah. Where did you go, Cricket? Where did you go? Yeah, you hear. That's true, Rocky, unless it's because they're not doing it as much on camera. Um No, I don't either. I don't. I know that he's still I see snippets of, the clips that people have uploaded, and he's still doing his bare-chested thing as though he's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hello, Polly. How are you? You warm enough? Did he? Nada did. About when Chantal overdosed. Deliberately. The Hatfields and McCoys. Oh, you're going to be a mine of information for me. Because have you got your wrench? It's not showing up. She doesn't know when to stop. Well, I wonder why. I've done it. Add as managing moderator. Try that one then. I don't know why. I've put you both as managing moderator, see if that shows up. I've done it. Oh, it's come up error. Try again. It's probably my internet again. Yes, I've given you a wrench, Cricket, but I don't know why it's not showing up. You and enigmatically, but it's not showing up. It might just be late. They might just be late. Hi, Kelly. Yeah, had a nice day. I've painted one and a bit cupboards, one from scratch. Well, the first coat, and finished off one that I'd started, and that's been just lying around for a few weeks. Trouble is, when it's so cold, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to get a hot drink and put my headphones on and listen to music or listen to a book. Yeah, I gave them an ordinary wrench though, Nova, and that didn't show up. So I just put them as main mods. We'll see how it goes for next time. My media provider is really weird at the minute. How is everybody anyway? You're all asking how I am. I'm fine. Goody good. It's Mother's Day this Sunday, Mothering Sunday here. And then the following, is it the following Sunday, the Saturday night, that the clocks go forward? Or is it this week? I'm not sure. I've got my phone with me. Carrie. I just do what Nova tells me to do. I've got to go out yet. It's 5 o'clock, so I'm going round to my brother's later. He is one of the few people, very few people I know who still play vinyl records. Most people who I know have got them, like our eldest son has got all his dad's Elvis things. And he's got them all locked away safely now at home in the proper boxes. But I don't know anybody who isn't a collector who plays them. My brother is one who does, and there's still quite a few here that my son said, to let him have them. So I'm going to drop them round later, so that'll please him. I don't know what player he's got. He must have a record player, or what they used to call them, the gramophones. His master's voice. Hey, that's Chantal. His master's voice. I guess Salah is her master now. Have you heard of a lady also called Jessie Weisberg? She's another body positive person. And I remember her from years ago, and I watched a couple of her videos. Didn't appeal to me in any way. But she's a body positive person. I think she's one of she's got a twin sister, and she said that she started to gain weight when her twin sister was diagnosed with the big C word, and so she felt that she needed to battle for attention, and that's when she started eating and gaining so much weight. I do feel sorry for people who've got, psychological illnesses that cause that. And for Chantal to say that it's all about body shaming, it isn't. It's about a despicable personality, a cruel personality. Oh, I'm missing people coming in. Am I? Do you, Rocky? I think she's got issues. Certainly she has. And if she just wasn't such a nasty person at her core, you could feel for her. But she comes on with this arrogant, sneering attitude, and she exploits her body. She complains about people talking about it. She exploits it herself for money. Nasty, yeah. BBJ, so I guess that he's been in her new home for about 3 weeks now. So even up until now, that cat has known 3 weeks that Chantal wanted to deprive her of, because I believe that she would have. Yeah, you're right, Rocky. People say about boringness and boringness. I don't really. Or when people say, I want my freedom, I don't want to get married. What does freedom mean? Does freedom mean that you won't have anybody who ever cares about you? Is that what it means? I don't mean that can only happen when you're married, but oh yes, enigmatically that I saw her. She was waiting for weight loss surgery, wasn't she? Yeah. And Tess Ouija bar, the body positive woman went and posted on this girl's Instagram. I've forgotten her name. Was it Danielle? That she was very sorry and lots of love, and yeah, it was Chantal's emergency visa fund. I'll call you emergency. I can't call you Chantal or visa or fund. She's enraged because, yeah, she's enraged because she was called out and caught out. I'm going out to my brother's Nova at about 7. I'm not sure what time I'll be back, but I will be back. I'm taking his record round tonight to him. The chemo he's had has really messed his body up. So he doesn't really get out much anymore. I will Nova, yeah. I just said, I don't know what. I know he's got some things that he plays them on. He doesn't know I'm taking them. He knows I'm going round. Have you, is Claudia all right, Nova? I know you spoke to her last week, and I emailed her. Thanks, enigmatically. The radiotherapy he had has sort of burnt his inside and caused problems there that can't really be rectified without major surgery. And he's too frail now to have that surgery. Hi, Stephen. Oh, every time I see you, I feel so guilty about not still doing that video. And as time's gone on, I'm thinking people are going to say, why is she doing that video now about the airport? It's months ago. Yeah, I know, Nova. I'm glad to see she's still uploading the books. Yeah, what? It's like with treasures, isn't it? It's what one man's junk is another man's treasure, and what one person would find boring, to other people, that's contentment. I'm content being comparatively boring. When I was, when I had my couple of years of frantic living, like working abroad and jumping out of aeroplanes and running half marathons and doing all sorts of silly things, I wasn't content. I really wasn't. Why did I put myself through that? To prove that I could. I'm sure BBJ is getting lots of love, and she looks so content, didn't she? The pictures that we've seen of her. And as I say, up until now, she's had 3. Everything now is like Chantal would say she's living on borrowed time. Well, that's okay. Let her live on borrowed time. Let her have her life. How can you be so blasé about euthanizing an animal? And I hope the TikTok girls, I'm sure they don't come over to watch me, but if anybody goes over there, I'm sure that the TikTok girls will see about the hamster being put in an air fryer, because she's done that as a big FU to them, to everybody who cares. Yeah, we all live on borrowed time. Enigmatically, that's rubbish about soap and water, because there was no room anyway for the soap and water to get down that ring. It was, I mean, my rings are tight, but they still turn around. They're not that tight. And I don't take mine off. Use gloves when I'm messing about. But did she take those rings off 5 times a day then? Before prayer, when she was doing wudu, washing her feet and her orifices and everything, did she take off her rings then 5 times a day? I think not. And how did she bend to clean her feet anyway? I think it may have had to be cut off because it was just so tight. Yeah, the fire department or making pie dough. It was the fire department who had to be called out when I got back from Ireland, from Dublin, and I got back home and leaving, getting out the cab at Dublin Airport. I caught my fingers in the cab door. I don't know how it happened, whether somebody closed it on me. I can't remember. I sort of shut that out of my mind almost completely. But all my nails were actually, it was this hand, because when it's cold, sometimes I can still feel them. And it was 3 of my fingernails that were caught in the door. And I got back to the airport here, and I was in such pain, I had to go straight to the hospital. But when I was at Dublin Airport, it was the fire department who came out to give me first aid. They could do nothing but give me painkillers and, dress my fingers. But when I got back here, I had to go to the hospital and they had to, I'm not going to do anything, he said, the doctor. And my hand was shaking like this. I'm not going to do anything. And I should have known he was going to, he injected between the fleshy part, each of your fingers. And then the next thing I know, he's pulled my nails off. Oh. Yeah, I think she had that ring cut off. It wasn't an expensive ring. It didn't look expensive, but it doesn't matter whether it was my first wedding ring. That's the most precious ring to me, and that wasn't greatly expensive either. But that's been 57 years now. So it's the emotional value, isn't it? I know, Cricket, it was so painful. Your extremities, can you imagine? Over where, Rocky? Funny thing was, enigmatically, I didn't break anything. It was just my nails. I must just have got my nails there. Ah, in hospital. Don't know what she thought she was doing. She'd go out for a meal, went to cuddle the camels and everything, all the while saying how ill she was, that there was this big medical emergency. Were you a medical secretary, Rocco, or admin? Yeah, I think medical secretaries. I did some temping work in hospital in between my Saudi stints, and I always think it's fantastic the way they get all the jargon right, and you've got to be very, very careful what you put in letters. Oh, were you? The big cheese with a couple of big bites out of it. I'm early today. The reason I'm early is because, as I say, I've got to go round to my brother's, and I know I won't feel like coming on here when I get back. That's just the way it is, though, isn't it, Rocky? You know, in Saudi when I went, they had Filipinos in jobs as clerks, and that there was a couple of Saudi women, young women, working there, but you wouldn't find I didn't see any married Saudi women working. There were Canadians there, US obviously, and the Brits. Yeah, I know. Enigmatically, yes, I saw that. And the cat solidarity with BBJ and her mum's dog as well. Her mum's dog can't stand. I know the dog's got an underbite, but with Chantal, it's even more pronounced. Problem is when they promote somebody from inside, that can, you know, can bring forth a lot of ill feeling if there's people at the same level, I suppose. I don't know. And they're not always well equipped to take the next step in any event. Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? How do I pronounce that? Lhasa Afso. Lhasa Afso. It's like similar to a little Scotty, isn't it? Lhasa Afso. I don't think I've heard of those before. Shih Tzu, yeah. Hi, Bally Chicken, how are you? Long time no see. My fault, because I ain't been on. What you up to, Bally? You keeping out of trouble? And dogs are beautiful. I'm more of a dog person, and Alf was. I mean, we love all animals, but dogs particularly. What's going on with Pete, Bally? Is he happy? Oh, you're going to get your driving license. That's good. Animal senses, the sense of animal sense a lot of what we can't, as in, you know, otherworldly things, as in people's feelings towards them. They do, they just sense it. And they sense when you're upset. I've said before that when that happened, that hi Jana, oh thank you so much, lots of love to you. When 9/11 happened, and I was sitting watching it on the television, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I was crying, and our dog Sophie, the first dog, second dog we had, she was on the chair over the other side of the room, and she was just watching me, and her tail was going thump, 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 thump. You know, what's the matter? What's the matter? So I said, come on then. And she came over and she was licking my tears away. Yeah. One of those things now about events that you, like with Diana, you know, you don't forget where you were or how you heard about it. That's another thing about her as well. If the TikTok people get hold of this as well, that about her laughing because people were jumping out of the buildings. I can feel my heart racing just thinking about it now. How can you laugh at something like that? Bally, do you know what? He's not doing badly financially because he's got his memberships. So add that up. How much does he charge a month for his memberships? Multiply that by however many subscribers. He's got that going in every month. He said he was having well, last I heard, he was getting about $500 or $600 a month from YouTube. And probably more than that now because of Chantal's, his views have gone up. So he's not short of money. And he probably, even though he says he doesn't get any help, government help, I'm pretty certain that he gets something. Especially if he's saying that he's autistic, is he? Has he been diagnosed? I've also got, I don't know whether I can upload it because I don't know whether there'd be a copyright strike on it. I think there's some music in it. But I can put a link in a community tab, and it's an interview. Jordan Peterson, you know, the Canadian psychologist, interviewing a trans who was given dressed as a woman, right? So she trans from being a woman to a male. I think I've got this right. And now she wants to go back to being a woman. She realises that she made a mistake. She was put on hormone replacement therapy at the age of 8, 9, 10 years old, and given counselling. And I think she had surgery at the age of 15. You know, they're actually doing things to people, butchering people is the word that Jordan Peterson used. They're butchering people because it's fashionable for it to happen. I'm not saying that it's wrong for everybody. I'm saying that children who don't know their own mind, and they can't know their own mind at the age of 8 or 9 or 10, in my opinion. And I certainly wouldn't want, you know, to think that anybody would be giving anybody in my family hormone replacements without their parents' knowledge. Yeah, they did, Rocky, didn't they? And you know who used to do that as well? It used to be done in a lot of countries, but they made a big to do about it because Hitler was doing it, wasn't he? It was very cruel what they were doing in Nazi Germany. It started off by this eugenics business, by wanting to create the master race and making sure that people couldn't procreate who had problems. And then they moved on then, didn't they? That was one step. And then they moved on to the next step, which was, you know, actively unaliving them. They were so cruel. You're right, Rocky, it is, yes. And it is another form of control, like the jabs were control. Well, you know, it's an actually a medical fact that our brains are not fully developed, you know, even at 13 and 14. So how can an 8 or 9-year-old decide on such a drastic measure? Yes, I believe it was by design too. You know, if you, for example, you know, you've got girls playing with dolls traditionally, or dressed in nurses' uniforms, or you know, in the caring professions, and you've got boys who want to become train drivers or fly aeroplanes. I mean, I know women do all that now, but traditionally, the roles that they used to have, the males and the female, just because you've got a girl that doesn't want to play with a doll, doesn't mean to say that that girl is showing signs of wanting to transition. And it does seem to be as basic as that when they're including 9-year-old kids. That's right, 21 and 25-year-olds. I was a tomboy. I used to do all sorts of things. Got the scars to prove it on my legs, climbing trees and climbing onto roofs, but I was never cruel to an animal, ever. Yeah, does Rocker, I know. So what I'm saying, Pete gets that irate about being trans. He's done nothing at all. He's not even sought counselling, let alone started hormone replacement or shaving. So he needs to get a job. Simple as that. Yeah, you'd know more about that than me, Rocky, working in the profession. That makes sense. The way you've said it, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It's almost like that false memory thing, isn't it? Remember when that was a thing, that children were going to see a therapist for whatever issue they had, and the therapist or psychiatrist was apparently placing in their brain a false memory about them being abused as they were growing up. And I know an old neighbour of mine, she had that happen with two of her daughters, I believe. One who was saying, yes, that this actually did happen, and the other one who was saying, well, I was too young, but maybe, yeah, maybe it did. It's terrible. Cleans up the gene pool. Not sure it does that when we've got so many. We've got the elitists at the top. People are talking about the Great Reset and the New World Order. You know, it's happening all around us. We've only got to look at the world. We've only got to look at the banks closing down. All the banks that are going out of business. It's frightening. Yeah, it is, Nova. Can you imagine our ancestors looking at the world the way it is now, comparing it to how it was with them? Ren Ferrell, hi. I've never known so many people so poorly as since that jab. You notice during the time there was the pandemic, there was no cases of flu reported, was there? Everything was COVID. You're right, Rocker. Yeah, you're going to own nothing, and you're going to be happy about it. You're going to watch me, and I'm going to manipulate the F out of you. Yeah. Similar, not exactly the same, but similar. Stackable housing. I feel quite nostalgic looking back, even though, like, the slums of, you know, Victorian England and everything, and the poverty levels were terrible. But Kuwait, yeah, they're yeah, Ren, yeah. What are they? Are they those shipping containers? Do you think a shipping container? Because it's straight through, isn't it? Straight into their living room, straight through to their bathroom, their hallway, come kitchen, bedroom. Yeah. And all of a sudden, everything was that on the certificates, and now is he still overseas, Rocky? Is he still? Where did he go? Did he go to Egypt? Well, Kuwait, before they struck oil, literally, it was just a patch of sand. That's all it was. Nothing there. Roman's always looked frail, hasn't he? What happened to his animals? Because I got the impression that Kiwi was his bird, but it couldn't have been. And the dog as well. Um, oh, he might have. Yeah, could be. If he is ill, I wish him well. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Oh, there is his girlfriends. And yet he took Chantal back there. Maybe that's why he's gone back to be with his family. Maybe. I don't know why he keeps coming on, and he's met Chantal, 3 times? And he keeps coming on as though he's got more new information about her. I just think, make some decent videos and why can't he go back to Canada? He literally, physically can't go back. Yeah, he's gaunt. He could make some interesting video, even if he just did videos of the scenery where he is, and spoke over them. It would be better off than coming on and calling a gorilla and saying that he's got tea when we all know he hasn't. Yeah, Bali, I saw it. Yeah, Morocco, some beautiful architecture there. He could get some great footage. Anyway, I'm getting off. I know it's been short. It's only been just over an hour. Clickbait, that's what it is. Because I've got to get round to my brother's, but I sometimes, Rocky, it just, I mean, I've got, what have I got on? I've got a bit of eyeliner and lipstick, but sometimes it just makes you feel a bit better if you bother a little bit. So I might come back on tomorrow night then and be a little bit longer and a more reasonable time, about 7:30 maybe. I've got to get out in the cold now. And you, enigmatically. Thanks everybody for coming in. I know it was short notice. Lots of love, everybody. Bye-bye.